Imagine this. You wake up, not in your warm, comfortable bed, but in the middle of a dense, dark forest. The air smells fresh, but there's something unsettling about the wildness around you. You can hear the rustling of leaves and distant animal calls. You don't have your phone, no GPS, no modern tools to help you. Your only companions are the raw instincts that humans have relied on for millions of years. How long would you last in this environment without the conveniences of modern life? Would you survive for a week, a day, or would the harsh world of the caveman swallow you whole? The initial shock of the caveman world, the world around you, is nothing like what you've known. As your eyes flutter open, the first thing you notice is the air crisp, fresh, and thick with the scent of earth and trees. But it's more than just the scent. The world is loud. The wind rushes through the branches. The distant calls of birds echo in the air. And there's a constant rustling of leaves that you can't yet place. For a moment, you wonder if you're dreaming. But no, the cold, damp ground beneath you tells you otherwise. You're awake. And more importantly, you're no longer in the world you knew. There's no smartphone buzzing in your pocket, no comfortable bed beneath you, no warm coffee brewing in the kitchen. You're in a world that seems frozen in time, one where the modern conveniences you've come to rely on are nowhere to be found. The realization hits you hard. You're no longer surrounded by the protection and predictability of modern society. Instead, you've been thrust into the wild, a place where survival is the only thing that matters. Your first instinct is to sit up and take stock of your surroundings. The trees around you stretch up to the sky like giants, their branches thick with leaves. There's no clear path, no sign of civilization, just wilderness in every direction. You scramble to your feet, and your mind begins racing. What do I do now? You're alone. There's no one around to help, no map to guide you. It's easy to feel helpless in this new, primal world. As your adrenaline spikes, your body is flooded with a mix of fear and exhilaration. It's a fight or flight moment. And the truth becomes clear. In this world, it's all about survival. The shock of the situation is overwhelming. No more fast food or stores. No more electricity. No more safety nets. You are vulnerable. Nature's unpredictability will quickly reveal its dangers, and you must find a way to adapt or risk being overwhelmed by it. But survival isn't just about reacting, it's about preparing, observing, and learning how to work with nature, not against it. Basic survival instincts first few moments after the initial shock are critical. Your survival will depend on your ability to find the essentials, food, water, and shelter. But how do you even begin? There's no guidebook to follow, no one to teach you the ways of this harsh new world. You're forced to rely on your instincts, the same instincts that have kept humans alive for millennia. Your first goal is water. Without it, you won't last long. You scan your surroundings, looking for any sign of a water source. In the distance, you spot a glimmer, what could be a stream. It's your first piece of luck. But it doesn't come without risk. The water may be contaminated, the path to it treacherous, and the journey exhausting. But it's your best shot. You start walking toward the glimmering light. Every step a careful assessment of the ground beneath you. Every noise, every rustling leaf could be a sign of danger. But hunger and thirst push you forward. You find a narrow stream cutting through the underbrush, the water running clear and fresh. You drop to your knees, your hands trembling as you scoop up the precious liquid. It's a small victory, but it's the difference between life and death in this world. Next comes food. You've heard the stories, read about ancient humans hunting and gathering, but nothing can prepare you for the reality of foraging in the wild. You have no tools, no knowledge of which plants are safe and which are poisonous. Your first instinct is to be cautious. You start by looking for edible plants, trying to remember the basics of what you've seen in nature documentaries. But even then, the risk of making a mistake is high. One wrong move could be fatal. Shelter comes next. Finding a place to rest for the night is essential. You can't afford to be exposed to the elements. You look around, searching for anything that can offer protection: a cave, a large tree, or even the branches of the trees themselves. You don't have the luxury of picking the perfect spot. You just need something that will keep you safe from the cold and any predators that might be lurking. The basics of survival are clear. Find water, gather food, and create shelter. But how do you go about making fire? The process seems almost impossible without a lighter, a match, or any kind of modern tool. Your hands shake as you try to strike rocks together. Unsure if you'll succeed. The challenge is daunting, but you've got no other choice. Survival instincts will be the only thing that guides you in this raw, unforgiving world. Adapting to nature's rhythms, know that the immediate panic has passed. The next step is adaptation. You've found your water, secured some food, and made a basic shelter. You've survived your first day. But survival isn't just about reacting to immediate threats, it's about learning to thrive in this wild, untamed world. You start to notice the subtle rhythms of nature, the way the sun rises and sets, the way the temperature shifts, the cycles of the seasons. These patterns are key to your survival. Understanding the rhythms of nature will allow you to predict what's coming, to plan for the future. This world is constantly changing, and you must change with it. You start to think about the seasons. Winter's chill is coming, and you'll need more than just a simple shelter to survive the cold. You'll need to learn how to build a more durable shelter, one that can withstand the elements. The skills you've started to develop will be put to the test. You'll need to work with the landscape, using the resources around you to build something that can protect you from the brutal cold. The cycle of the day is also important. You begin to understand the patterns of the animals, the times when they are most active, the places they frequent, and how to track them. You start to adjust your sleep schedule, learning to sleep during the cooler hours of the day and staying alert during the night when predators might roam. You begin to see the world differently. It's no longer just a place of chaos, it's a place of opportunity. Nature's rhythm is a challenge, but it's also a guide. By becoming attuned to it, you begin to find your place in the world, not as an intruder, but as a part of the ecosystem. In this new world, your survival isn't just about reacting to danger. It's about embracing the natural world, learning its rhythms, and adapting to them. You've taken the first steps toward not just surviving, but thriving in a caveman's world. And as you settle in for the night, you realize that this world, as brutal as it is now your home. The tools you'd need to master crafting stone tools, without a doubt. One of the most essential skills for survival in the caveman world is the ability to craft tools. In a world without modern technology, stone tools become your lifeline. Imagine a time where no shiny gadgets or easy-to-use equipment exist. Instead, you must rely on raw, natural materials, stones, sticks, bones, and the ingenuity that has allowed humans to survive for thousands of years. Your first priority is crafting a sharp-edged stone tool, and this is where your journey into stone knapping begins. Stone knapping is the process of striking rocks together to break them into sharp, usable edges. It's a skill that's been perfected by humans for centuries. The idea is simple. Take a large, hard rock, such as flint, and strike it with another rock to create a sharp edge. But the skill required to do this is not so simple. If done incorrectly, the stone might shatter into unusable pieces. But with practice, you'll be able to create sharp blades and points, tools that can be used for everything from cutting through tough hide to preparing food. But your stone tools aren't just limited to knives and blades. You'll also need tools for pounding, hammering, and scraping. A rounded stone can be shaped into a hammer, useful for breaking bones from marrow or driving sharp points into wooden shafts for spears. The stone axe is another crucial tool. You'll learn how to attach a sharp stone to a wooden handle, creating a simple but effective axe that can be used for chopping wood, gathering materials, or even defending yourself from animals. As you learn to craft these basic tools, you'll feel the satisfaction of creating something essential with nothing but your hands and the resources around you. The first time you successfully create a sharp stone tool, it's a moment of triumph. It's a connection to the past, a skill passed down through generations, and it's a skill that will keep you alive, hunting and gathering. Now that you've got your tools, your next challenge is learning how to use them to gather food. In a world where every meal is earned, your ability to hunt and gather becomes just as important as your ability to make tools. But hunting and gathering in the wild isn't as simple as grabbing a few berries or chasing down an animal. It requires knowledge, patience, and an understanding of the land. Your first task is learning to track animals. At first, You might feel overwhelmed by the vastness of the forest and the unpredictability of the wildlife. But as you begin to observe, you'll notice patterns. Animals leave tracks in the dirt, broken branches, and footprints in the mud. By studying these clues, you can follow an animal's movements and predict where it might be heading. This is a skill that comes with experience, and it's one that's invaluable for hunting. Next, you'll need to learn how to set traps. In a world where you can't simply go to the store for a quick snack, traps are a vital part of your hunting strategy. You'll experiment with different methods using snares, digging pits, or setting up deadfalls and learn to build them with whatever materials you can find. The process of setting traps requires patience and precision. A trap must be carefully constructed to ensure that it's effective and that the prey you're hunting doesn't escape. Foraging for plants is another essential skill, but not all plants are edible, and some can even be deadly. You'll need to learn to identify safe, edible plants, as well as those that should be avoided. Berries, roots, and wild greens become your sustenance, but they can also serve as medicinal remedies when needed. However, every plant you encounter requires careful consideration. A few wrong moves, and the consequences could be severe. Over time, you'll learn to trust your instincts and the subtle cues of nature to guide your choices. Together, these skills, tracking, trapping, and foraging, become the foundation of your food supply. But they also teach you something deeper about the world around you, the interconnectedness of everything. Nature provides the tools and resources you need to survive, but it's up to you to learn how to use them effectively. Building a shelter is you gather food and begin to master the basic tools of survival. The next step is finding a place to call home. Shelter is an essential part of your survival strategy, and without it, you'll be exposed to the harsh elements of the world. In this new, wild environment, you can't simply rely on a roof over your head or warm blankets. You need to learn to build a shelter from the materials around you. Your first choice is whether to seek refuge in a natural shelter, like a cave, or to build your own. Caves provide immediate protection from the weather and predators, but they come with their own set of risks. Potentially dangerous animals already inhabit them, and they may not be easy to defend. As you explore the land, you'll begin searching for a safe, secluded cave or overhang. If you find one, you'll need to clear it of any potential threats and make sure it's secure enough for long-term use. However, not every survival situation offers the luxury of a cave. In this case, you'll need to build a shelter from scratch. A simple lean-to made from branches, leaves, and vines can provide some basic protection from rain and wind. The process of constructing a shelter becomes a test of your resourcefulness and creativity. You'll use whatever materials you can find: strong branches for the frame, thick leaves or grass for insulation, and vines for tying everything together. A shelter is not just about protection from the elements, it's also about securing your safety. A shelter needs to be sturdy enough to keep out animals and provide you with a place to sleep in peace. As you build your shelter, you'll realize how much effort it takes to create a safe, livable space. There's no luxury here, no soft bed or warm sheets. It's a raw, physical challenge that requires focus and perseverance. But as the shelter takes shape, you begin to feel a sense of accomplishment. This is your home now, built from the ground up with your own hands. And as the sun sets and you rest inside your makeshift home, you feel a deeper connection to the land and the history of those who survived here before you. Crafting tools, hunting and gathering, and building a shelter, these basic skills become the foundation of your survival in the caveman world. With each step, you get closer to mastering the art of living in this harsh, unforgiving world. It's a slow, steady process, but with each success, you begin to realize that survival isn't just about instinct, it's about learning, adapting, and making the best use of the world around you. The dangers of the wild: you've learned to craft tools, find food, and build shelter. But none of this will matter if you're not prepared to face the dangers of the animal kingdom. In the wild, animals are both a source of food and a constant threat to your survival. From the apex predators to smaller but equally dangerous creatures, the animal kingdom presents a world of risks and opportunities. Your first challenge is the large predators, creatures like the saber-toothed tiger, the dire wolf, and giant bears that roam the landscape. always on the hunt for their next meal. These creatures are not just beasts of terror, they're also vital to understanding the natural balance of this world. They represent the greatest threat to your life, and avoiding them is as important as hunting smaller game. Unlike modern-day animals, these predators have no fear of humans. They are often larger, faster, and stronger than anything you've encountered before. But with danger comes opportunity. As a skilled hunter, you'll learn to track these predators from a safe distance, understanding their behavior, their hunting patterns, and how to avoid becoming prey. You'll develop a sixth sense, one that alerts you to the presence of a predator long before it gets too close. Being aware of your surroundings becomes essential, as even the slightest rustling of leaves can signal a predator moving through the brush. On the flip side, understanding animals also gives you the advantage of hunting them for food. With the right tools, you can bring down a mammoth or hunt smaller game like deer and wild boar. Hunting these animals is not just a way to feed yourself, but also an opportunity to gather other resources like fur for warmth or bones for tools. Every part of the animal can be used, making hunting an essential skill for your survival. Your relationship with the animal kingdom is built on both caution and respect. You must stay alert, recognizing that animals are not just a source of danger, but also a means of survival. They are integral to this raw, untamed world you now call home. The elements, friend or foe, surviving in the caveman world isn't just about protecting yourself from animals. It's also about understanding the environment and how to adapt to the elements. In the modern world, we take shelter from storms and extreme temperatures for granted, but in the caveman era, the weather is a constant, unpredictable force. The elements can either be your ally or your enemy, depending on how well you adapt. In the colder months, the frost and snow pose a significant risk. With no modern insulation, staying warm is critical to avoiding hypothermia. Your shelter, though functional, may not be enough to keep the cold at bay. You'll need to gather extra resources, building thicker walls for your shelter, or learning to make simple clothing from animal hides to provide insulation. The key to surviving the cold is managing heat, keeping a fire burning through the night, and ensuring your shelter is small enough to trap warmth. But the elements can also be your enemy in the form of heat. Summer months can bring extreme temperatures that make hydration even more critical. As you spend your days hunting and gathering, the heat can quickly drain your energy and your water supply. You'll need to find ways to stay cool during the hottest part of the day, seeking shelter under trees or in caves during the midday heat, and venturing out during the cooler hours to hunt or forage. The changing seasons also impact your ability to find food. In the winter, hunting is difficult, as many animals either hibernate or become scarce. On the other hand, the warmer months bring a bounty of plants, berries, and insects, but also bring new risks. Floods, wildfires, and sudden storms can wipe out resources in a matter of hours. You must learn to recognize the signs of impending storms and take shelter before they hit. The key is being prepared for anything. The elements are unpredictable, and survival depends on your ability to adapt to the ever-changing conditions. You begin to realize that the weather is a force you cannot control, but one you must respect. It will test your limits, but it will also teach you the importance of preparation. Learning how to use the elements to your advantage, whether for warmth or food, becomes as crucial as any tool you carry. Health and injury in the caveman world. Without the luxury of modern medicine, health becomes a constant concern. A single injury, no matter how small, could be a death sentence if left untreated. In the caveman world, every cut, bruise, or scrape is a potential life-threatening risk. Without antibiotics, the chances of an infection spreading are high, and the lack of hospitals or medical facilities means you must rely on yourself or primitive herbal remedies to stay healthy. Injuries are inevitable, whether it's a deep gash from a sharp stone tool or a twisted ankle from stumbling over uneven terrain. Injuries are a part of life in the wild, but with no hospitals or doctors to patch you up, how do you treat these wounds? You must learn to use the natural resources around you to help heal your body. Certain plants and herbs, like aloe vera or yarrow, can help stop bleeding, soothe burns, or treat infections. But identifying the right plant at the right time requires a sharp knowledge of the natural world. and how to use it. You'll also need to understand basic first aid techniques. Without stitches or sterile bandages, you may need to fashion your own tools for stitching wounds or binding broken limbs. The use of splints, for example, will be vital if you break a bone. Your ability to treat these injuries quickly and effectively will determine whether you live or die. Health isn't just about avoiding injury. It's about keeping your body in balance. You'll need to ensure you're eating the right foods to maintain strength and avoid malnutrition. A diet that lacks essential vitamins or proteins can quickly lead to weakness and illness. You'll need to become an expert in the plants and animals you consume, knowing which ones will nourish your body and which ones could be poisonous. And illness is another concern. With no modern medicine, simple colds or fevers can turn deadly. Primitive humans had to rely on their immune systems to fight off disease, and their ability to cope with illness was directly related to their physical condition and the environment around them. Keeping your body strong, staying clean, and avoiding illness will be a constant battle in the caveman world. Health, like the other dangers in this world, demands constant vigilance. You must be prepared for the unexpected, whether it's an injury, a sudden illness, or a dangerous encounter with wildlife. Without the safety nets of modern medicine, survival comes down to your ability to adapt, make use of nature's resources, and maintain a healthy body and mind. In the caveman world, the dangers you face are ever present, from wild animals to unpredictable weather and the constant threat of injury or disease. Your survival hinges on how well you adapt to these risks. The wild isn't a place for the faint of heart. It's a place where only the most resourceful and resilient can thrive. The mental and emotional struggles, loneliness and isolation. Survival in the caveman world isn't just a physical challenge, it's a mental one. After the initial rush of adrenaline from the shock of being transported into the wild, the reality of your isolation begins to set in. You're alone, surrounded by the vastness of nature, with no other human presence to comfort you. At first, you might tell yourself that it's fine, that you'll adjust, but the longer you remain in this unforgiving world, the more the absence of human connection starts to weigh on your mind. Humans are inherently social creatures. Our survival has always relied on cooperation, communication, and the bonds we share with one another. Without the company of others, this natural need for connection begins to manifest as profound loneliness. The silence of the forest, the isolation of your shelter, and the absence of conversation begin to gnaw at your psyche. You may go for days without speaking to another human, your only interactions being with the natural world, animals, plants, the wind, and the occasional rustle of leaves. But none of these can replace the emotional fulfillment of sharing thoughts and experiences with others. Loneliness is a mental burden that weighs heavily on your spirit. It's easy to imagine how quickly despair could take hold. Your survival is no longer just about finding food or shelter. It's about maintaining your will to survive. The longer you're isolated, the harder it becomes to keep your mind sharp and your emotions in check. With no one around to share the hardships with, your emotional strength will be tested in ways you never expected. Ancient humans like you had to confront isolation in their daily lives. They didn't have the support systems we take for granted. Today there were no mental health professionals, no community groups, no family gatherings. They had to develop ways to cope with loneliness and isolation in order to stay mentally strong. They may have relied on spiritual beliefs, rituals, or even the simple act of communicating through nonverbal cues to alleviate the isolation. These coping mechanisms allowed them to endure the long periods of solitude and continue their fight for survival, mental resilience, and survival while the physical challenges of survival are obvious. Hunting, gathering, and protecting yourself from predators, the mental challenges are often overlooked. How do you keep going when everything around you is designed to break you? The harsh environment, the constant threat of danger, and the isolation can all take a toll on your mind. But it's in moments of intense stress that your mental resilience becomes the most important factor in your survival. The key to surviving in such an unforgiving world is developing a survival mindset, a mental resilience that allows you to persevere even when the odds are stacked against you. This resilience is not just about physical toughness, but also about the ability to stay focused, Remain hopeful and maintain clarity of thought in the face of overwhelming adversity. In a world where danger lurks at every turn and death is always one misstep away, it's easy to be consumed by fear and panic. However, those who succeed in the wild are those who can manage their fear, maintain their focus, and make rational decisions even when chaos surrounds them. The survival mindset requires the ability to stay calm under pressure. Imagine hunting in the dense forest when you suddenly hear a noise behind you, or spotting a dangerous predator lurking in the distance. It's easy to panic, to let fear take over, but your survival depends on your ability to think clearly, make decisions quickly, and take action. This ability to control your emotions in the heat of the moment is what separates those who live from those who perish. In addition to emotional control, mental resilience also involves the ability to keep going when everything seems hopeless. When you've gone days without food, when the weather turns against you, and when loneliness threatens to overwhelm you, your resolve will be your greatest strength. The ability to push through these dark moments and keep moving forward is what will determine whether you survive. Ancient humans learned to build this resilience through trial and error, using every hardship as a lesson in how to endure. Your mental toughness will be tested repeatedly as you face the brutal realities of the caveman world. But as you continue to survive, you'll develop the strength to endure whatever comes your way. Your survival mindset will become second nature, and you'll learn to find peace even in the chaos of the wild. The evolution of social bonds. Humans are not meant to be isolated creatures. Our strength comes from the connections we form with others. Even in the most primitive environments, humans instinctively form social bonds for survival. While you may be alone now, the early humans that came before you understood the importance of cooperation and community. These social bonds were essential for hunting, protecting each other from predators, and sharing resources in a way that ensured survival for everyone in the group. As you struggle with loneliness, you begin to realize that social bonds are not just about emotional connection. They are essential for physical survival. A group of early humans would have been far more effective at hunting, gathering, and protecting each other than a single individual. It's likely that early humans formed tight-knit groups, not only out of necessity, but because of an instinctual need for connection and security. These groups allowed humans to collaborate and support one another, sharing the burdens of survival. Over time, this social cooperation would have led to the development of more complex social structures. The early humans who formed these bonds were able to create a sense of community, and this community became a source of strength. It's not just about survival in the wild, it's about building a foundation for civilization. The bonds formed in these early days laid the groundwork for the development of language, culture, and eventually, society. As you adapt to life in the wild, you might begin to understand the deep need for connection that early humans felt. The strength of a tribe, of a group working together, is something that becomes increasingly apparent as you endure the trials of isolation. If you survive long enough, you may even begin to instinctively seek out others, realizing that cooperation and connection are just as crucial to your survival as any tool or skill you possess. The emotional struggles of isolation, the mental resilience needed to survive, and the understanding of the importance of social bonds are all part of the complex psychological landscape of caveman life. As you push forward, learning to balance your mind and emotions, you realize that while survival may be an individual effort, it is also the key to understanding humanity's evolution into a social species capable of thriving together. The shift from survival to civilization, the discovery of agriculture in the harsh world you've been surviving in every day is a battle for food. The process of hunting and gathering has become second nature to you, but deep down, you know it's not a sustainable way of life. You can't keep moving from place to place forever, constantly searching for food. The idea of settling down, of growing your own food, seems impossible until one day you discover something that will change the course of human history forever: agriculture. The first step toward this monumental shift begins with a simple observation. As you gather wild plants and seeds, you notice that some of them grow in particular places. Maybe there's an area where a stream runs, and you see certain plants thrive in that location. The idea slowly begins to form in your mind. What if I could plant these seeds myself. This moment of insight marks the beginning of agriculture. It's the realization that you can control your food source rather than rely on the unpredictable cycle of nature. At first, agriculture isn't about large-scale farming. You begin small, planting a few seeds near your shelter, hoping to cultivate enough to supplement your diet. The process is slow and uncertain, but with time and patience, you start to see results. As plants grow and bear fruit, you begin to understand the cycles of nature in a way that you never could have before. The once constant search for food is now becoming a task you control. This is the moment when human civilization takes its first step away from survival and toward the foundation of society. The discovery of agriculture doesn't just change how you obtain food, it changes everything. No longer do you need to follow migrating herds or constantly move from one place to the next. You can settle in one spot, build a home, and focus on cultivating the land around you. Agriculture provides stability, and stability is the first building block of civilization. From this point onward, your life is no longer centered on simply surviving. It's about thriving, creating, and laying the groundwork for something much bigger than yourself. The birth of language and culture is. Agriculture changes the way you live. Another shift begins to take place in the caveman world: communication. In the beginning, survival relied on basic gestures and grunts, whatever you could do to convey immediate needs or emotions. But now that you're settling into a more permanent lifestyle, the need for more complex communication becomes apparent. The birth of language is just as essential as the discovery of agriculture, and it marks the beginning of culture itself. At first, language is basic words to signal danger, call for help, or share the location of food. But over time, language evolves, becoming more sophisticated as humans begin to share not only practical information, but also ideas, emotions, and stories. The first humans to speak in complete sentences begin to form a new way of interacting with the world. Language allows you to teach others, to pass down knowledge, and to bond with those around you. It is through language that culture begins to form. Culture is a reflection of the shared experiences and beliefs of a group of people. As humans begin to communicate more effectively, they also begin to develop a sense of identity and community. You start to see rituals emerge, ways of marking the changing seasons, celebrating successful harvests, and honoring the spirits of the land. These early cultural practices are rooted in the survival of the group, but they also give meaning to life. The birth of language and culture allows early humans to connect in ways that go beyond mere survival. It allows them to imagine, to create, and to give life a deeper purpose. The development of language and culture also makes cooperation easier. With a common language, you can share ideas, plan, and organize in ways that weren't possible before. Culture strengthens the bonds between individuals, creating a sense of belonging and unity. The sense of unity is what allows the human species to move from small bands of isolated individuals to larger, more complex societies. The shift from survival to civilization is no longer just about living, it's about living together as a community with shared values and goals. The dawn of technology as agriculture and culture shaped the evolution of human society. Technology follows close behind. Early humans didn't just invent fire, stone tools, or spears, they also invented systems of innovation that would lay the foundation for the technology we use today. The first tools may have been crude, but they were the beginning of something extraordinary. From the basic tools of survival, humans began to develop more complex systems that would allow them to shape their environment in new ways. At first, technology is simple: a stone axe, a wooden spear, or a knife. But as time goes on, these tools become more refined. Metalworking begins, and the discovery of copper, bronze, and eventually iron opens up new possibilities for humans. With stronger tools, humans can build better shelters, craft more efficient weapons, and expand their influence over the environment. Technology also begins to make its way into agriculture. The plow, for instance, allows humans to till the soil more efficiently, making farming more productive. Irrigation systems are developed to ensure that crops get the water they need, even during dry seasons. These technological advancements enable civilizations to grow, to feed more people, and to establish permanent settlements. But it's not just about tools. Early humans also begin to develop technologies in areas like transportation, architecture, and trade. The invention of the wheel is a game changer, allowing humans to transport goods and materials with ease. Permanent buildings and structures are constructed, and the first forms of urbanization emerge. With each new invention, society moves further from mere survival and closer to the birth of civilization. The dawn of technology marks a turning point in human history. The tools of survival evolve into tools of creation, shaping the course of civilization for generations to come. These innovations pave the way for the modern world we know today. The shift from survival to civilization is not just a change in how humans live, it's a transformation in how they think, create, and interact with the world around them. The shift from survival to civilization represents the dawn of humanity's greatest achievements, from the discovery of agriculture to the development of language and technology. Each step forward builds upon the last. These advancements allow humans to go beyond merely existing. They allow us to thrive, to create, and to lay the foundation for the societies we live in today. As you look back on your journey from a lone survivor to a member of a thriving community, you realize that survival was only the beginning. Civilization is what comes next, and it's the legacy of those who adapted, innovated, and worked together to build a better world. As we've explored the incredible journey from survival to civilization, it's clear that every step forward, whether in developing tools, creating language, or mastering agriculture, was driven by the human spirit to adapt, grow, and thrive. So, what about you? How do you adapt in your own life? Whether you're facing challenges in your career, relationships, or personal goals, the key is perseverance and the willingness to embrace change. Just as our ancestors transformed their world, you have the power to shape your future. If you found this journey through history inspiring, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join me as we continue to explore the lessons of the past and apply them to the challenges of today. And if you want to dive deeper into the stories that shaped humanity's rise, be sure to check out the next chapter in our series. Let's keep pushing forward together. Stay curious, stay resilient, and as always, keep building your own story.